What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I finally finished building my PC. This is the third part, or part 3 of my PC build. So for those that are new to my channel, I built my first PC back in 2020, right before the height of the pandemic and before parts went whacking out of crazy. And I built an AMD platform in a Corsair case, and I had that for about 3 years. And then come this year, obviously when it comes to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, usually the best time to buy anything for computers to PC parts to graphics cards to a lot of stuff for those looking to want to upgrade their computers. Well, I decided to upgrade my computer, and I went and I did a redo or a rebuild of my PC, which is still an AMD build, only this time it's running a Ryzen 7 as opposed to a Ryzen 5. Everything is the same in my computer case with the exception of the motherboard and the RAM and the CPU. So as you can see, I have finally finished it. It did take me a while, actually, I'm not gonna lie. It took me a bit to figure out how to actually get my computer boot up because there was some certain procedures that I forgot how to do because this is only the second time that I built it, and this will be the last time that I actually do a complete overhaul. Now, we'll be swapping out my 2080 Super for another graphics card, so stay tuned for that video when I drop that. But right now, I am running a 2080 Super. The motherboard on this, as I said before, is the B650A as opposed to my B450, which is no longer here anymore. I actually sold that along with the RAM and the CPU because I no longer need it. But the AIO and the fans and the power supply and pretty much everything else you see here is what I originally had in the case, with the exception of the Elgato Camlink Pro. So for those of you that don't even know what that is, basically this right here that says Elgato, that is basically what I use to control my camera. So on the back here, there are 4 HDMI slots, and I have 2 cameras. I have my ZV-10, which I'm filming on right now, and my FX30. So when I'm running OBS, whether I'm streaming on Twitch or doing some sort of a tutorial where I want to put my face on the desktop, this is what I'm using for that in conjunction with OBS. Now, you don't really need this to do what I just talked about. You can use what is known as an Elgato Camlink, which I will drop down a link below if you want to do that. Otherwise, this is just something that was a little bit more, I don't want to say professional, but in a sense it is professional. But because I have 2 cameras, this was probably something that was easier for me to do as opposed to having two cam links connected, doing the same thing but with USB instead of with HDMI, as pretty much all cameras are via HDMI. So this was much easier for me using that. Otherwise, the motherboard is white as opposed to black, which was what the B450 was. And instead of me running 4 sticks of RAM equaling 32, I am running 2 sticks of RAM, 16 each, and that's 32 right there. Those are the G.Skills. They're not Corsair. That obviously is my Corsair all-in-one, my AIO cooler. As I said, everything else there is pretty much the same with the exception of the motherboard, the RAM, and my Elgato, which is something I've had for a while. And then I do have 2 other slots that I have for NVMe. So the one that's stuck right here that I'm putting my finger on, that's kind of flush mounted with the graphics card, there's one in there. There's actually also another one here, and then there's one like right on the bottom, but I can't use the one where it says Strix because if I use that, it actually disables the PCIe for my Elgato, so I'm not going to be using that. I'll actually be using the one that's kind of just below the graphics card, and I'll be putting another one there. I'm not going to make a video for that because putting NVMe's onto a motherboard is pretty basic, pretty simple to do. So as you can see, everything in here is fine. Yes, I know I don't have a cover on this. I can stick my hand in here. It's perfectly fine because I'm going to turn off anyway and then put it down the bottom and then replug everything else in. But I just wanted to talk really quick about this before I do that. And this here is what is known as a GPU stand. So it keeps the graphics card from slagging. Now, I know a lot of people nowadays don't have that problem with graphics cards. They don't slag as much. But I still prefer to kind of do it this way. So even if I move my desktop around, it doesn't bend or break the PCIe connection. Not that I have to worry about that, but still, you never know. Graphics cards are, can be expensive to replace, and you don't want to be just replacing it because it is something stupid. You want to hold on to as much as you can. Otherwise, this is pretty much the last part of my PC build. Like I said, the only thing I have to do now is I'm going to eventually swap out my graphics card for a newer one, which I'll do later on in this year, just not right now. So that's again, and I want to thank everybody for watching. Again, if you're new to my channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button and that bell notification. That way you don't miss content when I drop it. If you haven't been keeping up with my last two videos on the parts and everything else about this and the different comparisons between my old motherboard and my new motherboard, take a look at this video right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.